Okay, my name is Pedja. I'm with New Target. We're a digital agency. We do a lot of development, design. A little bit about me. I've been primarily a PHP developer, but I did switch to Drupal years ago, and I've been part of the community, worked on a bunch of modules. I've a couple of my own that I haven't really been keeping up with to go to 8 yet. New Target, we do a lot of membership applications, so not really typical websites, but we do a lot of LinkedIn type of sites, but we do a lot of integrations where folks use Salesforce or other CRM, which, as big as Salesforce is, their interfaces are not really usable. So what we do is we usually stand up either Drupal or WordPress in front of it and create that great experience for their members to log in, do whatever they need to do, sign up for membership, manage their account, update their addresses, billing, all kinds of things like that. But we do a full cycle and we do everything in-house. We don't everything from strategy, design, development, integration, hosting, and marketing, because once the site goes live, there's still a lot of work to be done. We've worked with governments, we've worked with associations, and I know some of these might not be as popular here in Croatia, but we've done Industrial Designer Society, Architect of the Capital, which is the project was really actually fun because everybody thinks Architect of the Capital, they have to do something to do with the capital. Their office is in a capital, but they had an issue where everybody would come to find information about the capital. There's another site that we did, which is got a capital site, but Architect of the Capital actually maintains all the buildings. So all the electricians, the plumbers, the bricklayers, that's who Architect of the Capital is. They maintain the Capitol, Botanical Gardens, Supreme Court. So it was an interesting project because we had to help them after, they've been around 200 years. We had to help them rebrand so people know who they actually are and what they do. But we're not here to talk about the Capitol. We're here to talk about Drupal and Solr. And I'm still not sold on the whole Drupal 8, so this is still for Drupal 7, which is a really powerful marriage. And we probably build anywhere from 60 to 100 sites every year, and all of them have Solr on the back end because Drupal search or even WordPress search are not really usable. They don't provide good results. So what is Apache Solr? Have you guys who's used Solr? I'm assuming if you're in open source, everybody's used Solr. So one thing I like to point out, and a lot of these, when I do this session, a lot of the people in the room are not technical and they think search, they think about Google, Yahoo, Bing. That's not what Solr is. Solr is for your on-site search, not for your SEO, and it's not going to help you with SEO. And I mean, everybody can read it, but it basically, Solr, you can have one or more cores. They can all have different indexes. So if you have content that's for public and content for members, you can put them in different cores so you can kind of make sure that they don't kind of cross-pollinate and people don't get results they shouldn't be seeing. Even if you put it in one core, the Drupal modules will handle the content access. So it's really up to you for performance. What we've also done is we can use Solr in one core and it's hooked up to Drupal. Then we'll use Elasticsearch, put it on top of a different core for more Angular-like results where it's like Google-like. As you type, it's doing all kinds of crazy things. You can do that with Drupal and Solr as well, but we found that Elastic on top of Solr just does a much better job. The way structured data, unstructured data, Lucene is really for unstructured data, and what it does, it basically looks at things, gets every word in from the document, checks how frequently does it appear, how rare is it in bold, is it in title, and out of the box, Drupal module will give you ability to kind of set the weight. So if you wanted to say, I want every time somebody does a search, if their term that they're searching for is bold, that result should be on top. So that's really easy to set up with Solr. It'll also do pagination, sorting, facets with the facet module, spell checking, hit highlighting, more like this. It really turns your basic run-of-the-mill Drupal search into a powerful search on your site that can actually find the results. You can extend it and add things like per role search, per user search. So if you have, different roles on the site, and let's say if I'm a member of the public and I search for membership, since you're not logged in, the first result should be how to become a member. If I am logged in, maybe the first result is how to renew and extend your subscription. But Solr in itself, which is built in Java, doesn't really have an interface. It has an admin interface, and since I'm not using my laptop, I can't really show that part because all of our Solr servers are not for public. They're all run in a backend. So that's where Drupal really comes in, but it applies to, you can use Laravel, you can use WordPress, I mean, really anything, but we're going to focus on Drupal because it is a Drupal camp. So you really get, in Drupal 7, you get to kind of choose your venture. Do you want a blue pill or a red pill? Like Neo and Matrix, which path do you want to take? And there's pros and cons to both of them. The two paths are really Apache Solr Search Suite of Modules or Search API. Now, I think these statistics might be a little old. I'm pretty sure they are old. But it's really, they both at the base do the same thing, but for different things. Like for me, Search API, you can integrate it with panels and views and do all kinds of crazy things with it. For my use cases, I usually go with Apache Solr Search because it has, in my opinion, better hooks and it's a better developed module. For Drupal 8, they are being joined, so it is one Search API, and I think there was a session earlier on Search API in Drupal 8. So I typically, and I would say maybe half of my developers also agree, the other half use Search API depending on the use case. But with Apache Solr Search, you get all these little modules that you can use, and one of the most popular ones is the attachments. And what it also does is you can obviously use the facet API and expose all kinds of facets. And the beauty of using Apache Solr Search with Drupal is that you can give the power to the end user to tweak their results. And what I mean by that is you set up a site, you get the content in, you set up Solr, you connect the two, and you index the site. I mean, you're pretty much done, right? From your development standpoint, you're done. It works. It's getting the index. But if you use Google Analytics or anything and track those searches in the Google Analytics, you can then run analysis and see, are people finding what they're looking for? For example, if they're looking for membership, what page is coming up first? Maybe there's some page that says membership 100, 200 times, and it's really not what you want them to find. The admin user can go into the backend and kind of adjust the facets, run the tests, kind of watch it for a couple of weeks, and then go back and fix it. There are a lot of Apache Solr hooks. So I've put up some of the ones that I primarily use where you can alter the query, and if you ever look at the full query, it's super long that goes to Solr and includes everything from what's the weight for content, which by default is 40, and then you can say, all right, H1 is going to be a 5, and Solr will do all the math for you and bring back the best results. But you can also then, if you're integrating maybe with a third party or have some kind of third-party membership system, and let's say when I log in, I have 7 different IDs, I can say, all right, well, if his ID is in this range, he's an alumni, we want to bring these results back, and this should go to the top. Since Drupal really doesn't have much to say of what comes back, you can basically query alter on the way back as well, so you can remove results. So we have clients, for example, that have pages in the system, but they don't want them ever to show up in Solr. So you can kind of say, all right, well, if a page is flagged with this, strip it out, don't show it. On the other hand, we have clients who want to show those results, but maybe they want to blur them out. So you can then say, all right, well, if it's a result and it's this content type and it's for this access only, show the title, but the content, and I'm sure you've seen, like, it's kind of blurred out, and then you gotta have a little lock icon and subscribe now to buy it. So you can do all that with these hooks. You know, a sample hook basically, you know, adds a text to the top of the page, and you can, I mean, you can go crazy with this and do anything you really want. And I'll provide a link where some of this slides are. So this next slide, you know, and I use this with everybody on our team. You know, everybody gets stuck sometimes, right? And you know, our human initial reaction is, you know, go ask somebody. We're a very large team. We're about 60 people, so having 60 people come and asking me questions all the time, it just, I don't have the time to do that, you know, then that becomes my full job. So there's this site, which is lmgtfi.com, and that basically stands for Let Me Google That For You. So I have that actually on my office door, nicely printed, and as they walk in, they can kind of see that, and a lot of them do turn around and go Google it, because that's what I'm gonna do, right? If you ask me something, and if I can't think of an answer in the first 20 seconds, I'm already typing it into Google. And then you've got Drupal answers, Drupal forums, which sometimes have good stuff, but the Stack Exchange is much better, and you can get better results. And now there's actually, I don't know how many of you use Slack, but there's a Slack, Drupal.org Slack that you can get on and get kind of real feedback. But again, let me Google that for you. It's going to find, at least, if you put in the correct wording, on the first page, you're going to find your answer. And you can think of any issue you've had, somebody's had it, and somebody's solved it. So for the demo, let me see how I can get into this. So I usually do this presentation off of my local, so it's a lot easier now. Here I'm going to figure out, I had to move my stuff up into, and it's a European keyboard, so bear with me. I need hyphen, press hyphen. The dash. Lower right?
Yeah, lower
right. Oh, right
there
there.
it is.
No, that's the other one. Now I'm going to need it again. Here we go. So this is basically, so everything we do off of what we call base 7. It's our prepackaged Drupal. We don't typically do distributions or anything like that. We run everything off of different Git accounts, and when you create a new site, we spin up Docker, and all of that DevOps takes care of it. It all kind of comes together, and basically this is what you get. It probably has 50, 60 modules that we use, including all the Solr modules, both Srce and Apache Solr, and you pick yours, and all the modules that we typically use. We don't typically allow developers to add new modules. We go through a vetting process where all of our solutions architects would weigh in. So if you have client wants, I don't know, Nevo slider or something, we're not going to put it in there. There's view slideshow, right? Great, you like Nevo slider, but we don't use it. And the reason we do a custom base is because between our teams, we want to make sure that, you know, you're out for maternity leave or something, and the developer that's going to take over knows what you were doing and how you do it, because we all do it the same way. Now, there are cases when we'll add new modules because there's a need, or, you know, but we try to limit it because then we're all on the same page. We can all work as a big team. And I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Look at that. And we use Omega 4, 3, 4 for our base. I don't do front end, so I don't know. I'm just going to look up what the login is. Much. Okay. I should recruit somebody to hold my microphone. Now I need the other one. I wish they used. Where's the at sign? Oh, here it is. Now you know at least what I'm using my password, right? Yeah, it's a super secure password. Oh, and I misspelled it. All right, I'm going to put the mic down. You know, these DevOps guys come up with best passwords. It's the keyboard, it's not me. Problem is I don't even see what I'm typing in, so I might be hitting wrong letters. Yeah. Susanna, you want to type it in for me?
Not that. You're probably using the other key with the shift.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to use the alt modifier. So that's
Oh, okay. I think I got it. Let me try. But to do caps, I can do Shift C or Shift letter. To do a cap. But why isn't it Shift? Oh, because it's on the same key. All right. Success. Yeah, I'll say it now. All right, so this is, again, as I said, base install is just a theme. It doesn't even have a theme. It's just a basic theme. So basically, on the configuration, and again, the reason I like the Apache Solr versus Apache Solr versus Srce API, it's a lot easier for the end user. And again, when you have, you know, we all want to train our clients to do the work instead of getting a call every 5 minutes saying, how do I do this? How do I do that? You train them once and hopefully they remember. You'll get questions, but so first we do by default set up the Google Analytics to track search, which is very easy. You just basically say yes, and then there's a link that shows you what you need to do on the Google side, which is basically just turn it on and put the search query. And you can track custom stuff too, which is a powerful module. Now for the Apache Solr, right now I have the search set up, and it's basically using the basic Drupal search. If I go to the modules, again, very simple, enable Apache Solr. And with Apache Solr, in our base, we put a whole bunch of little things like sort and stuff, and then we'll do maybe some custom as well. But the attachments, what I mentioned earlier, is a really, really good one because it's so easy to add in And what it does, it uses Tika. I don't know if you guys have used Tika, but Tika basically will read Word docs, PDFs, and anything else and stick it into an index, and it makes them searchable, which is good if your client has a lot of documents and PDFs they want to search. What the access will basically control your access, who can get to the content. It'll pass to Solr that this piece of content is only for logged in users or a certain role or whatever permissions. Apache Solr term proximity, again, out of the box will probably boost your results. And we'll go ahead and enable that. We'll enable with Solr. Let's enable all of them. But the term proximity will basically tell Solr, and you have full control, or your editors have full control of saying, calculate the distance between the two words. So if I search for Drupal heart, it's going to calculate, there's only one space. But maybe somebody's talking about Drupal, and then later they mention a heart, it's going to be a bigger space. That shouldn't go to the top. So that's what the proximity module does. And you can do a lot of these things on Solr itself with the configuration files. But again, that's like if you're doing a data import from like a third-party stores or a federated search. For federated search, you can also use it where you're indexing 12 different sites, but you want the search results to show up from all the sites on one. So once you enable that, you have to basically set your search setting, and you can kind of remove node and user from Drupal and make the Apache be the default. And before I do that, we'll just run a quick search. If there's any content. All right, there's just a test. So where's my devil? Oh, maybe it's not enabled. Oh, it is. Generate content. So we're just going to generate some content, basic page, 50, yeah, sure. And I didn't save the other page, so what we're going to do, I'm going to re-index this real quick with Drupal search so you can kind of see the difference. There's 100 nodes. So once that rebuilds, you should get to run the cron. So while that goes, we can actually get into some configurations. So once you've enabled the Apache Solr module, all the settings live there under the search and metadata. I didn't connect it. All right, it's having issues connecting it to it. But anyway, the bias, which is what I was talking about earlier, is where an editor can control what they want to show up first. So if you want to do it by anytime you mark something sticky atop of lists or more recently created, you can give it a higher weight and it will obviously show up higher results. You can do it by content type, and this is the term proximity. So you can kind of set what important does the distance between two words make. Let's see if our index, it's not available. No, you do to access the URL, but not in settings. No, I mean, we can try, but I've always taken it out. And unfortunately, I can't access this outside our work network. No, but the site should be, site's inside the network. So let's see. Yeah, it's not going to load. Yeah, because here there's usually a hash, but you take that out. Let's test it again. No. All right, so maybe the demo won't work. Let me see. All right, well, that's a bummer. Does anybody have a Solr running locally here? Yeah, I can't access it. Yeah, sorry about that. I wish I was able to run it locally because everything's set up on my Mac. And that's, I guess we can do Q&A then, or however I get back to the thing. Yeah, use Search API.
Yeah, I have the Solr Search API. Live
Okay.
if you need it, so.
That's okay. I think we're running out of time anyway. What time does it? 2 minutes for questions. If no questions, I'll tell some jokes. Okay.
I have just one small correction. Come on. It's a correction, not correction truly, but you mentioned that Solr is not like Google and that, but in combination with Notch or some other crawler, you can put you can crawl a content, put it, for example, in Solr, and if you are so crazy, you can set up a Drupal site, use Sarnia module to connect external, and you get to Google.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I meant by federated search. You
Yes.
can do federated search with Notch, but what I meant, it's not like Google. It's not going to help you with anything with your SEO type of thing. Like the results are Google-like,
Yes.
but the SEO and Google searching has nothing to do with.
Yes, but you
So-
can build your own search engine.
Yes.
In a way, so basically you cannot index entire web, but if
Yeah.
you have, for example, specific, I don't know, you want to have search engine for recipes, you can index, crawl few of the sites, and then feed it to Solr, and with Sarnia connect to Drupal and
Yeah.
make small search engine, something like
And that's what, I mean, even just by using one core and Drupal site, you get your own Google
Yes.
search engine, but nothing to do with Google.
And I have just additional question. Do you use multi-core setup for Solr or?
So we run shared Solrs. So basically we don't, I mean, obviously we have dedicated Solr servers for some clients, but a lot of our shared, we do our own hosting. So we have probably like 300 shared hosting clients. And each one of these sites has Solr. So we basically have a multi-core that one server can have, depending on the size of their site, anywhere from 50 to 100 cores on it. Because Solr isn't really that intensive once it indexes.
Yes.
And Drupal does a good job of telling it when something's been updated and, you know, like that.
And last question, what is the biggest index which you have? If you know how much
so-
gigabytes or?
Yeah, I can show you, but I can't log in. It's for a lawyer. It's justice.org. It's a law firm type of thing. What they do is, if you're a lawyer, and this is amazing, I think this is only in America. If you're a lawyer and you have, let's say you get hit by a car, right? And it's, you know, let's say it's I don't know, he hit you with his car. You come to me and I'm a lawyer. So instead of me going, you know, doing my own research, see how we can get most money out of him, I can go to justice.org, pay my yearly membership, and then I have the benefit of buying core documents. So I can find, has there been a case in Zagreb where, you know, he hits you with his BMW, and we're going to see if there's a case, and I can buy all that paperwork, and all I do is replace his and your name on that paperwork and submit it to court.
Nice.
So so it's only in America, I think, that they do that. So they have probably over 500,000 PDF documents, and they range between anywhere from 100 to 500 pages. So it's a huge, it's like, I want to say like 7 terabyte index.
Oh my God.
So, but it was we're still working on it. I mean, refining it, and we're about to redesign their site too. But yeah, that was a huge project. Took us about almost a year and a half to complete because they sell these documents, but at the same time, they have to show you just a little bit. So we have special rules. If a document is 150 pages, find page 75 or something, and a little book. Yeah. So it's very, they have like over 200 different types of documents. So whether it's, you know, a lawsuit or some kind of thing. So that was probably the biggest index we have.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Do they also index if you have separate question. I just wanted to say if you also have the successful rate of these lawsuits. For example, if there are 3 cases of someone getting hit by BMW in Zagreb, is there also?
So they have reviews.
Okay.
So if I'm a lawyer, like everybody, you know, it's not like Facebook. You can create a fake account. You have to give your real name and your whatever law number, whatever it is, so people, you know each other. But yeah, they have reviews where I can say this was very useful. I was able to use it for this and whatever.
So you actually buy the document that was successful in on court.
Yeah, and the person that's selling it gets part of the money too. So if I did all the work, because you know law, I'm sure it's complicated in Croatia too, but it's very complicated. You got to go through books and books, or you can spend some money and somebody did the work for you. Exactly, and then they sell quite a lot. People like to sue each other. Any other questions? All right, how many Drupal developers do we have here? 1, 2. So how many Drupal developers does it take to change a light bulb?
All of us.
He was right, none. It's a hardware problem. Thank you.